G'day punters, welcome to the deep dive. We're going to be doing mostly just the Q&A version today. If you want a full recap of what happened at, was it Flemington, Dickens? I didn't even see a race.
It's Caulfield, Peter.
Caulfield. If you want a full recap of Caulfield, head to RSN Central, get the podcast with J Dickens and G Hall, Racing Rewind. You'll get a full recap of what happened there on Saturday. But in the meantime, let's start with what was the main event at Caulfield. The intern's been working alongside Shane Ciurleo to come up with the top 5 Jamie Carr moments on the Twitter sphere. Curls, would you like to take it away?
What a great weekend to be an Australian / Italian / Melbourne supporter / Jamie Carr enthusiast. I've just been on a complete bender of celebration here. And let's not forget the absolute fill-up that I delivered on Saturday. Just take this opportunity to thank everybody involved, mainly myself. Fuck, it was a fill-up. Okay, let's. So this is obviously Jamie rode 100 winners. Hang on, 100 Metropolitan winners in a season, which is a first time in Victoria. Stellar effort. So I'm not focusing on what happened on the track. I'd rather focus what happened off the track and some of the narrative around it, because we do enjoy the hashtag narrative of the hashtag great game. So I had intern to teed up to scroll Twitter during the day and find us the best 5 tweets that we can talk about on the show and discuss the certain narrative angles. So what I'm going to do is try really hard here to not stuff this up and share my screen. I hope this all works. So we're going to start with a bit of fan stuff. So here's a couple of fans that have got involved. Rightio. So here's a bit of action from a bar at Caulfield by the look, from 1000 Giggles, who got a bit of a crew together there in the bar to dedicate a song to Jamie. If the sound doesn't work. If the sound doesn't work here, make sure, do yourself a favour and get out there and have a look at JT's tweet here. Let's see if this, geez, I hope the sound works. It really needs the sound.
There's only one Jamie Carr. There's only one Jamie Carr. Well done, Jamie.
In case you haven't guessed it, Jamie Carr just brought up 100 winners for the season, and Brew looks ecstatic.
Oh, thank God for that.
Holy fuck.
Okay, this is going down like a lead balloon, Curls. What have you got?
The next one I quite enjoyed from at Prince Rubiton. The next generation of racing goes wild as Carr comes back to scale.
That is actually outstanding.
That's a great photo. That was one of my favourites. The next one from Brian Martin scared me a little. Might be early, but don't tell me the Jamie Carr story isn't a movie in waiting.
Did you get the Peter Lawrence reply to that one though?
No, I'm not showing that. That was a ripper.
Who's playing Jamie Carr in the movie? Any thoughts?
Sharon Stone.
Oh, good. Who's playing Tony McAvoy?
I'm not sure if he's still alive. That Neil Farley, is it? You know, the comedian?
No, the bloke off
Chris
the
Farley.
big bloke off Jack Irish, the horseman off Jack Irish, the punter. You know?
Oh, Roy Billings.
Yeah, Roy.
Okay.
Look, it's all good to tweet to be part of the win. Like if you're not part of it, if you don't tweet about it.
Prince Rubiton's is the best by a long way.
Well,
Yep. What else have you got, Girls?
I think, like, from an industry participant that probably overshot the runway, I thought that award went to Alex Donnelly for sure. You can see the tweet there. The effects that Jamie Carr has had and will have on the hashtag horse racing industry will be proven in the next 5 to 20 years, with a lot of young girls taking up riding to be the next Jamie Carr. Wow. That's I hope Jamie saw that tweet. Just something, give you a like or something. That's the overshoot the runway award. That's a stretch at best.
Aren't most apprentices girls now anyway?
I don't remember seeing a young male apprentice come through that I could bet on for a little.
They're around. Rich Jones.
They're around, but there's more females than males.
Incredibly sexist. It should just whoever's the best rider, It doesn't matter if they're a girl or a guy. Peter, how long did you hover over a few, sort of dust off the Twitter account and let one loose here for Jamie?
Look, to be honest, I couldn't tell you what the horse she won on was. I don't know what odds it paid. I've got no idea. Did not see a thing from Caulfield. I've got less interest than I do about caring for English football supporters.
I'll touch on them shortly. Last but not least, there's always, every time there's a death or a success, there's always those types that try and place themselves in the story. We saw Galileo passed away, the horse, and the tributes that followed, and people taking posting photos of themselves with Galileo. Place Me in the Story award for the Jamie Carr 100 goes to Quinny. That tweet is more about Quinny than what it is about Jamie, I reckon.
To be fair, he looks good. He looks good in the photo. It's a good photo.
He's flying there, yeah. He's looking real good, yeah.
Yeah.
If you had that, Curly, the question is, if you had that photo with Jamie, what would you have done? I'm saying $1.03. You tweeted.
I'm going to start placing myself in story tweets because they're outstanding. It's gone the double hashtag too, and gone the tag as well. Real look at me vibes here. I know Jamie Carr sort of vibe about this. Outstanding self-placement in the story from Quinny. Really, I'm glad the intern picked this up because it was outstanding. We couldn't do the Galileo ones because there was at least 47,000 photos of people with Galileo after the great horse passed over the weekend. So some good work from the intern there. Really enjoyed that. Well done. I couldn't get the video to work.
Some of his or her finest moments, but that's all right, girls. I'll edit the video and post, so it'll look seamless. We'll just be talking about it, but it will be working okay.
Excellent. I'm glad that you mentioned the English footy fans too, soccer fans, Pete, because one thing that result did show is that they haven't evolved as a species, the English.
They have.
Well,
they give absolutely zero fucks. There's 16,000 cases a day of COVID. They're in the streets, key and coke, getting roared as they do it. It's unbelievable. It has gone backwards, but I think maybe in a good way.
Lighting
a really good time.
They haven't evolved at all. They still portray cavemen behaviour, win or lose. They were fighting each other before the game started. They've basically they've shipped all the convicts to the lucky country and stayed home in their own filth. But no wonder they're upset all the time. And have a look at the difference in the celebrations and the videos. What stood out to me was I wouldn't say they're pasty skin, but they're certainly not the number of tan, beautiful Italian women celebrating another victory than compared to their English compatriots who, live under fucking overcast skies their entire life, and it's just unfair. So I think I enjoyed it.
Did you? I have to put a trigger warning on this video for anyone who suffers from a vitamin D deficiency. I can really set them off.
Which ironically is all four of us.
Yes.
And they even booed Ash Barty as well. They cheered for the other Ciurleo.
I don't think that's true. I think that's narrative. Did any of you watch it?
No.
I watched it. My view was that they kind of roared the other girl in the second set because they paid their money and they wanted a third set.
Yeah.
And then they started fighting each other in the crowd.
No, that wasn't it. Wimbledon is a different sort of demographic, I think, to the soccer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Shall we talk about Pacodali? Because I must say I'm not across this. I just saw Pacodali there on the run sheet. I don't know what's happened.
Well, Curls touched on a point which just got me thinking, and I think we should talk about it. The industry has spent God knows how much cash on #LoveTheHorse for a month, and longer. Now they're all like retweeting and promoting that this horse, as a veteran who raced his guts out for Connections, is being sold instead of like rehomed, is the narrative, which is going to get a lot more attention than retweeting hashtag love the horse inside the bubble. The people looking for something to pick apart in the industry will find this, especially when so many people are jumping over themselves to look like they're doing the right thing. How isn't some of the money that's spent on all the other narrative, like the money that Racing Victoria would have been paying the Herald Sun to put Jamie Carr on the front page, why wasn't some of that put into just rehome Pacodali, like control the narrative, or maybe, just maybe, tax the fucking breeders enough so that these situations do not happen, because this is poisonous for the industry. We talk about the whip all day long, no one cares. This is poisonous. This is a successful, strong horse who earned over $500,000 of prize money, raced on the big days, and now it's just a shit look for the sport. Makes me cringe. Lots of other stuff, like the whips, couldn't care less. This makes me cringe. What do you guys think?
I heard this is off the cuff. I'd have to resource this, but I remember reading an article 5 or so years ago, maybe a bit longer, where this mare, this older mare, had sired a couple of winners in Queensland, I think it was, and she'd been in the Hunter Valley somewhere, and her owner had just opened the gate and let her go and join the Brumbies out the back in the hills or whatever. And then because one of her offspring had started winning, they had to go and try and find her. So if that's representatives of what the breeders think of, how much they love the horse, then
yeah.
Look, it's an interesting one, like because in the complete reality of the industry, they are a commodity.
Yep.
They are bred, brought, raced, sold in whatever order. Bred first, I assume.
You'd hope so. You'd assume so.
They're a trading commodity. I mean, that's the reality. And I thought it was pretty ordinary. Some participants jumping on this and highlighting it, and some of the shit takes, cracks at Inglis, etc.
Yeah.
Inglis, this shouldn't be. That's not it. Like, come on. Like, it's the reality of the racing industry and the breeding industry. And you buy a horse and you race it, and it doesn't win, so you sell it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But
at the end, I know the end of life issue, right? The end of life or the end of career is an issue that doesn't want to be dealt with by the racing industry. They want to rehome their champions because we love winners. Well, I reckon rehoming champions exacerbates the problem because we're putting all the emphasis and effort into the winners, and we have a Hall of Fame, living legends. Where do the dead ones go?
Yeah, but like,
where do the retired ones go? Where does the Maidner go? Where does Pacodali go? Because it can't jump. I've brought it as a hurdler or whatever because it's old, so I'm going to try and extend its racing career by trying to jump it, and it can't jump. So where does it go?
Yeah, but to your point, it's a 9-year-old horse. Like, they're entitled to sell it. It's a commodity. So they shouldn't be sort of tarnished for doing it. But there should just be a system where no one feels a need to become like a vigilante about it, because they know that if it's not sold, it's then going to be taken care of and rehomed by the industry.
It's a very good point you made. The vigilante reaction is no good for the industry, and not a good look for the industry at all.
Self-interest dominates racing like nowhere else. Self-interest dominates everywhere, but the domination in racing is...
I watched a documentary last night about the Eastern Seaboard Current and where it ends. It ends in a little island on the southwest tip of Tasmania. Maybe we should just rehome all the horses there, just drop them off. Put them into the... Like, it's an uninhabited... So the southeast, the hot... the sea, it's sort of, the ocean has currents, the southeast current. It ends on this little island in southeast Tasmania. It's like uninhabited island. Yeah. We need to find a place for them to live. Well, there's no places. Where do you home them?
Mate, we literally have, in the UK how they vaccinated 35 million. That's the whole population here. We're enormous. The land mass here is enormous. There's plenty of places to put everything.
Yeah, but there's not, because you can't just put them in the middle of in the middle of the red centre.
Yeah.
I don't know. I tell you what. How about you give me 45 million to organise it? I'll spend 35 of it and keep 10. # self-interest. That's what's going to happen. Someone's going to get paid to do this. It's got to happen. Has to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, the crux is that there are far too many bred each year that are either going to be raced or homed or whatever. That's
As
breeding
usual,
industry
you're the
is
smartest
fun.
one here. That's the. We're dealing with like the result, not the cause.
Yeah. That's it. Stop talking logical sense, Rhoden. That's enough of that. But it does lead in very well into a question from Jess Ryan. Kerry, what is the team's opinions on this new concept of micro shares in horses, e.g. $90 for a 0.01% share in a really well-bred or trained horse?
I think if they're, I think they're already pretty expensive, and the amount of paid promotion behind, I think what he's talking about, like no one's going to pay for that except for the people who pay for these horses. I don't like it off the top of my head, without researching it at all. But it just seems like there's too much marketing in that thing.
Yep.
The people promoting it aren't doing that for free. The people who promote that they don't get out of bed for free.
It's an interesting one. There's obviously a market for it, and it's just whatever the market's prepared to pay. You see a similar thing with My Runners. I only know this because there's a few in Queensland with about 800 owners, and they're all fully subscribed, and there's hundreds of them at the races when their horse runs. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't care.
But My Runners doesn't seem to drown like the promotion as much, so maybe it's
My Runners is already established, I suppose, but
I think it'll be successful in the short term, and then the people involved will go, yeah, I want to do it again in 2 years' time when they need another horse, or they'll say, nah, that was shit, and that'll be the result.
I suppose it's buyer beware and everything, isn't it? Like, work out what you're paying for. But some people just want to have a low cost entry to win a race and put a photo on their wall. So,
and good on them.
Yep.
At least it's interesting in the industry, which at its base point is probably more important than a lot of the other things happening at the moment. This is more a punting question from Sam. How far back do you consider a horse's form to be relevant? If it has a number of peak figures over a certain track and distance, it starts 8 and 14, but it's now at start 25, is that too long ago?
It's not. It's especially if it's track and distance or something like that. It's not too far back, but I try to focus on the last 6 or so.
Yep.
And and even stretch. I mean, horses have shorter preps than they used to in a lot of cases, in New South Wales anyway. But last 2 preps is probably max. If you're going back 3 preps, you're probably stretching the friendship, unless it's had issues or something.
Yep.
But I like if I was going to do the form like in a sort of automatic rope way, I'd just look at the best figure from the last 6.
Okay. I tend to just look at last 10 as a holistic approach. That's just because it's got the punting form. It's the model that they use on their base package, and it actually works quite well for what I've done so far in Perth. But that's obviously different because there's less tracks in WA as opposed to Victoria and New South Wales. So there's probably a little bit of depends on which state you're betting into more than anything.
Yeah.
Okay, Anthony's got a really good question. I think we will leave that for the previous show though, because it's going to take a little bit more time. It's obviously a short, sharp session. We've had to fit it in on Tuesday morning, so apologies, but hopefully you got something out of the Q&A session here today. Week ahead, Mark, we'll start with you.
For me?
Yeah.
Sorry. We're at Canterbury on Wednesday tomorrow and Gosford on Thursday, so pretty light midweek, and then Rose Hill and Provincial on Saturday.
All right.
Canterbury, what are we expecting? Up and in?
Yeah, it's true rail. So look, it'll be on pace and or inside. You can be outside lead probably okay, 1-1 maybe okay, but midfield and off is going to be a worry.
All right, very good.
We've got Royal Sandown rail out 14 metres on the hillside.
Scary.
and they want to sell the joint. Honest to fucking God, you can't make this shit up. Then beautiful Bendigo on Thursday and Geelong Friday, and into Flemington and Moe on Saturday. Highly doubt we bet Moe. Highly doubt we bet Echuca or Pakenham on Sunday, but expect to bet a heap through Ladbrokes Park, Sandown on Wednesday, Bendigo Thursday, Geelong Friday, and Royal Headquarters Flemington on Saturday. Bet.
And Kells.
Grubbing our way around Doomben Wednesday, Ipswich Thursday. Full race by race coverage on Saturday from Eagle Farm, as well as meetings at Toowoomba and the Gold Coast.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's been the deep dive. See you later in the week for the previews.
Bye for now.